You are live.
That's awesome. We're going to give things just a minute or two to make sure we have audio that's tracking properly. We have guests. We're going to do like the full intro start up here in a moment. We have Angie making a funny face. Hi there, Angie.
Hi, I'm trying to figure out how to get the YouTube video up and I forgot to mute the sound, so it might give you guys a little noise in a minute.
That's right. I made sure we are live here, and I'm watching the ad. I'm skipping the ad. So there's us. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I like the way that lays out.
Let's see if I'm hearing you.
Awesome. And Nate, we got your audio this time?
Check 1, 2. Yep, you should have me good.
Oh, yeah, he's 5x5. That's awesome. Well, I think we're ready to roll. Sue? Got the finger.
I hear Angie loud and clear.
Outstanding.
I hear you loud and clear.
Outstanding.
Let's test Nate.
Nate, be right there.
Check 1, 2. Can you hear me all good?
Yeah. She's just waiting for it to catch up to her headphones, so she's listening to YouTube. Then we're going to get rolling here.
Good to go.
All right.
Good night.
Yeah, so we got the problem solved. It was a Rick problem. Rick's the problem. Get rid of Rick, and there's no more problem. All right, here we go, guys. We're going to get rolling. Well, we'd like to welcome everybody to our 5th night wrap of Airgun Expo 2024. It was a great week. We shot some really, really cool air guns, and I've got some really cool guests here in the studio with me. Well, one is in South Carolina, and one is way over in Australia. So can you imagine like trying to do this 15 years ago? Oh my gosh. Here we are. We have like PCs off the shelf, a Skype, which is free, and we're able to do a show like this, which is somewhat amazing. So first of all, I'd like to introduce Nate from Nate Croney. How you doing, Nate?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, Nate was up last night. We had all kinds of audio problems Rick induced, but we solved them. I figured out what I had the little switchy in the wrongy place and whatever. But we
See,
should
if
be
you
up
weren't
and
in the
going.
picture, you wouldn't have solved them, so we couldn't
That's
get
right.
rid of Rick.
That's right.
So.
Well, thank you, Angie. And yes, with that in mind, let's talk about Angie. Angie is back. We're going to be having a fun show because Angie's here. Everybody likes to see Angie. Angie,
that's a lot of pressure, Rick. That's a lot of pressure.
Well, you need it. That's how you perform. The more pressure, the more you get out of Angie. We just know that. So just mountains of it. And it's going to just compress. No, I'm serious. How are you doing? What's going on? What's happening? You said you had a super busy week there when we were sort of fixing to get ready. Is there anything you can share? Is it all like super secret, top secret, like ninja stuff that you can't tell us?
It's not. I mean, it's not a huge. I had some family stuff come up. I had some work stuff come up with ATN, and there's just different things that have come up that were kind of inconvenient. It seemed to happen at most inconvenient times. So, yeah, but it's been a busy week.
Yeah, sort of like me mucking with the audio just before we go live and screwing everything up. That's inconvenient. I get it. So let's jump into some cool stuff. First of all, let's just talk a little bit about today. You guys just jump in. If there's something, I'll mention the guns we shot today. I know, Angie, you watched some of the stuff because we saw you online there for a while.
Yes.
But I started off this morning with the Gamma Coyote 177, and that gun blew my mind. I don't know if you saw any of that, Angie.
Dude, is that the one that shot the quadrant target at, was it 100 yards or something?
100 yards with a 177.
That was the Whisper, right?
Slugs, too. We were shooting JSP slugs, pellets, in 177 at 100 yards. Yes, it's the Coyote Whisper. Sue? The Coyote and the Coyote Whisper is the same gun.
Okay.
That was impressive.
Yeah, I was loving that. And the consistency, again, I've been hitting this unregulated gun, this concept that is you don't have to have a regulator to get like good results. Good engineering is good. When you have good engineering and add a reg, that's great. But if you have crappy engineering and add a reg, it helps, but it doesn't solve your crappy engineering. So this was it was really, really nice. Very satisfying to smack 100 yards consistently with a 177 in the wind. That was pretty awesome. Then we did the micro carbine, and I think folks really liked the Evan X Viper. Well, Sue, what you doing, Sue?
Trying to find it. There it is.
You really enjoyed the micro carbine. I'm gonna throw you in here. What did you think of the Evanex microcarbine
I
25.
was very surprised. Firstly, it's a pistol. I don't do pistols because I shake too much. I mean, I don't shake like a leaf, but I shake. So when shooting a pistol, it's hard.
Well, the whole
I was
point of that,
surprised.
yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the whole point of that with the microcarbine, it lets you stabilize, right? So it is a pistol with the stock on it.
Yeah.
So then you get that stabilization with the micro package, with the super light. So go ahead.
And I was surprised how accurate it was.
Yeah.
And I had fun with it. And I mean, I don't know if people have seen the videos from today, but Naomi and you had a competition.
We're not going to talk about it.
And then they got off camera and I shot 11 out of 12.
I didn't want to talk about it.
And
I'm glad Naomi won.
To me, that's amazing.
I bet you are, Angie. Nate,
No, because I don't think you would have danced like she did. She danced. I don't think you would have. So at least we got to see somebody dance.
She is. Well, all I need to do to dance is to watch somebody pop an iguana in the head and get it on film. We already have that footage. You've got me dancing, right?
We do. We do.
That was awesome. Nate, man, I don't know if you've seen that video. We're in Florida. It was not a great iguana hunting day. So when we got to finally take some shots, it was pretty exciting. And I think Angie lined up on this one, and I'm watching the camera, and there's just, it was just, I'm watching it. I'm like, oh my God, that was so amazing. But we got it on film. It was just really cool.
Nice.
I did a little jig and everything. It was, and then
We got his jig on film too.
Yes, and then
Good day.
Harold put it to music, and the rest they say is history. I didn't even get any royalties off of that one. That would have been pretty good, but that was awesome. Yeah, so you've got me on camera doing a jig, but Naomi was super pumped because the contest was whoever won got to make the other one sit through something. So I've been wanting to make her watch the original Dune because that's the only one that's worth watching, in my opinion. I haven't watched the second half of the first one, but this recent one. But this, oh my God, it was so awful. The first was like they had nothing to do but film the entire thing in slow motion because they needed to stretch it out. It's horrible. Supposedly the new one is better, but I don't know, man. You're going to have to, I ain't going to go pay to see it. That's for doggone sure. Anyway, I want to watch the original. So the thing was, she wants me to watch anime. So we had this contest. We had 2 sudden deaths. Oh, old jerk, old poop head managed to squeak out a win. So Dad's got to watch 6 episodes of her anime of her choosing.
I feel bad for you, Rick. I'm not fond of anime. So
I don't.
I'm sorry.
You should have trained more.
Yeah, I should have trained more. I'm with you. Absolutely.
Sugar time just about every day. Not enough.
Yeah. It was her gun. I'm going to say it was her gun. She's actually, I have no excuse. There's no reason I should have lost that. Anyway, I get to hang out with my daughter. Is that necessarily a bad thing? We're going to count it as a good thing.
No.
We'll just move on.
Hold on, one more thing.
Yeah.
One more thing. And then your wife came through and beat you both.
Yeah, but that was,
Off
we have
camera,
no,
We
we have no proof of that. There's no substantiating material.
Rick was there. He did witnesses, but he'll
did.
never admit to it.
It was actually pretty impressive. But she enjoyed shooting that a lot.
Yeah, I did.
And so did Cheryl. Cheryl shot it a little bit later. So anyway, and then I saw the Hubin pistol. Did you watch some of that, Angie?
I did
That
not.
pistol? Man, that pistol went from 400 feet per second to 1,000 feet per second.
No, I did watch some of that one. I
You
did.
It's just a regulated adjustment on the bottom. And Nate, this is like one of the first products that we're going to use with your chronograph, right? 1/2 UNF. You just
Nice.
put it right on that pistol. It's a 22 cal pistol. It's a little power adjuster. So the original Hubin, or the Hubin rifle that I have, has a power adjuster at the bottom. This has a power adjuster in the stock, just inside the stock, or grip, I should say. And yeah, you just dial it to where you want it. It went from 400 to almost 1,100 feet per second. So it's like 44 foot-pounds out of a 22 cal.
It's great to see. I'm loving things like the Viper, things like this, being able to package that many features in such a small little package. I mean, the great innovations that are coming out now. I'm loving all these like little pistols with the amount of features they've got, with the price point in that packaging. Like, we're doing great stuff in the industry. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I think it's we're gonna have a really cool conversation here, and I'm just about done here. So we're gonna save like the best of stuff, Sue, to the end.
Yep.
But because I really want to get into this discussion, and it's just actually a great segue. Nate, because I want to get into this. What your impression is of the industry, like where you live. We could talk about where we live and see how they compare, how they compare and contrast and so forth. But lastly, we did like a fun shoot, and we shot the guns we enjoyed. We shot the McCavity MA2.
Do you want me to show some pictures of those?
No, it's fine. We're going to go through it pretty quick. So we shot the McCavity MA2. We shot that little Evan-X Viper. I shot the poor Bob. I really wanted Bob to be like super successful with that Gauntlet 30, but he struggled with it. But that's okay. I mean, not every gun is for every person, right?
Right.
But that SL30 is just awesome. So we had some fun just for about 2 and some odd hours, just sitting down and enjoying some fun air guns. So that's what we did today. You guys can see all of those videos. They will actually be linked off of the schedule. So if you go to our website, go to the schedule. If you see a slot that's got something in it, you click it, you can watch the video.
They're already linked.
Sue's already on it. You're dragging it right over to my screen. I can't.
Sorry.
There you go. She's like blocking my view of Angie and Nate. All right, so Nate, let's get back to why you're here. I mean, you're here to talk about the Crony again, but so that people that were trying to watch yesterday and couldn't hear you have a better understanding. I don't know, Angie, if you caught any of that, but Nate makes a Crony that. I know you have adapters, but let me just get through this part, Nate. It screws on to 1/2 UNF.
That's the most common adapter. Yeah, it's just a little half UNF threaded.
Oh, nice.
No,
I didn't catch any of it last night, so I don't know.
Well, Nate, why don't you tell Angie about your Crony, and I'll chime in and throw stuff in there too. But I mean, Angie, you're doing testing, and I'm sure you've had. I know you have a Pro Chrono Digital, right? Because you have that one.
Right.
You also have now the True Ballistics too. But the Pro Chrono is great as long as you don't miss the sky screens and the weather's just right and the sun's in the right position and all the stars.
And
are
you don't
aligned.
shoot it.
Yeah, you're not a real air gunner until you've shot your Crony. I'm a real air gunner, at least maybe twice. But I mean, yeah, that is something really depressing when you put one right to the face. Anyway, but you get it. I'm sure you've done testing and had to go re-Crony something because you didn't get the numbers you needed. And there was gaps and stuff. Yeah. So Nate, tell Angie about your Crony and why you made it and how it works and all that kind of cool stuff. We're going to go through that again tonight. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it really is just a simple Crony. Like, it works reliably. It is barrel mounted, so that's the device there. I've got the lovely laser engraver working now, so it screws on with a half UNF thread, or if you want to run it over a moderator, UK guys love to be able to plink, or you want to do testing, tuning, you don't want to make a lot of noise. So you've got like a variable adapter, which like clamps onto over a moderator, unthreaded barrels, anything like that. I've got those adapters up to 50 mil. And if you've got anything weird and wacky, so things like a TX200, air arms, target pistols, wire arcs, I've got adapters for a heck of a lot. If I don't have an adapter, let me know. It's barrel mounted and it uses infrared. So exactly like a shoot through with the infrared screens, but because it's barrel mounted and enclosed, if a pellet leaves the barrel, you'll register the shot every single time reliably. Indoors, outdoors, cold days, hot days was an issue. Indoor lighting, fluorescent LEDs, it'll register every single shot every single time. So it's just a reliable Crony. You can get out of the range box, attach it to your muzzle, and you're up and running. It doesn't have a screen. It doesn't have a battery. You've probably got one of those. Your phone's got a screen and a battery. So it uses standard USB power. I don't want to be providing special battery packs and all that sort of stuff. Batteries degrade over time. You can use any USB power pack or plug it straight into your phone for power. So that's how it's powered. That's what we use as a screen. I'm not charging it. I'm not putting a screen and a battery in my product. So, we retail this for less than $100 US.
Wow.
Less than 100 pounds. Registers every shot. I literally just got certification from our National Measurements Institute. So I will have a calibrated master chronograph from a certified organization. It is accurate. I'm less than an uncertainty of about 0.3 feet per second at 1,000 feet per second. My airsoft software, I tested to 1,500 shots a second for
Wow.
100 shots, and it registered every shot, not a problem.
Wow.
It's accurate, it's powerful, but I'm using Wi-Fi and a web browser. So it's standard stuff. There's no app to install, no data privacy permissions, none of that shenanigans. I just want to make a chronograph. I've been an air gunner for 20 years. I just want a chronograph that works for me and is simple. That's what I'm about. That's what I'm doing. So that's the quick marketing spiel.
Yeah.
Sweet. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and so yeah, it is. That Hubin, 1/2 UNF, attach it, we can get our numbers. That's a perfect example of why you want that in your box, because that gun has such a range, and just turning the thing, you don't know where you're at, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how many times, Angie, have we had? Oh, I know I've had it. I'm sure you've had people ask you questions. You know, how many turns of hammer spring to make that, to get those results? I don't know, 5, 6, 8. Unless you have a crony, you don't know what you're getting. Sue?
My favorite thing about what he just said is you don't have to download an app for it.
Yeah.
Because, oh my goodness, every flippin' app that I have, and I use it once, and then it sits on my phone and drains my battery. But that's cool.
Yeah, all you need is a web browser. And I was watching your videos, Nate. You prefer folks to use Chrome?
Whatever works. There's no restrictions. Any web browser works. Chrome's got a great little feature where you can like click, add this web page to the home page. So it gives you an icon like an app, but it literally just opens your web browser. So it gives you a little icon on your screen. So you just click on that, and it acts and behaves like an app, but it is a web browser. And in terms of an app, read through the privacy and the data gathering statements on some of these manufacturers. European, GDPR, all sorts of information privacy. They love no apps. It's concerning what people do with your data, and yeah, I'm not about that. I just want to make a chronograph, so it is really just clean and simple.
Cool. And you have different models too. You've got like a longer model, a mini model, and you're working on some larger stuff too, correct?
Yeah, so that's the standard one. Good for, I mean, I'd happily put about 40 caliber through it. I say 7.62. You could put 9mm through it without a problem. Good sensor placement, so they're about 80 millimeters apart, and a little mini one. So that's typically for things like target pistols. Only go up to 25 caliber, so little target pistols. It's a little bit lighter. We're talking about 60, 80 grams. That's
very light.
About 2 ounces, I think, in freedom units. So yeah, because you don't want, you're out there with a pistol, you don't want something big and bulky hanging off. Try to make them as light as possible, convenient. End of this year, we're changing things up aesthetically. But yeah, things like big power, 200 plus foot-pounds, 50 caliber, we've got a solution for that as well.
No, I think it's very, very cool. Go ahead, Angie.
I was just saying it's very cool.
Yeah.
You did say that if there's something weird, like somebody has something that's not standard, just to they can contact you and you can make something for them.
Yeah, so I am the guy. Email me, Crony at Nate Crony. I did a Gammo CFX. Things like there's field target is really common in the UK. So I have a lot of field target rifles. A lot of them do come down to a standard variable, maybe with a cutout. I've got a Zabroya Biathlon, but you give me some get in contact, I'll ask for a couple of measurements, I'll do some design, send something out, we'll get it to work. I think I did a Walther LP500 pistol. Took me one go, just asked for about 8 different measurements, clipped it on, bang, off we went, good to go.
Nice.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your airgunning history, Nate, because we talked a little bit about it yesterday, but more in the, where was the frustration point that brought the innovation of the Crony, right? We went through that whole thing trying to lean back off a rest and shoot through your Crony and not fall off the back of the bench and all that kind of stuff. And you said, that's it, I'm going to build something that works. What kind of air guns do you shoot? Name some of the air guns you own, some of the air guns you shoot every day or whenever you get to shoot. And I actually want to know, what are the laws there? What are the kind of the restrictions? What can you do? What can't you do? Is there power limitations, caliber limitations? I'm just curious about, what your air gunning day to day is like.
Yeah. So we are somewhat restrictive here in Australia. There's I won't go too much into the red tape. You can own a rifle, air rifle. Everything is a firearm. be it an air rifle, be it a 22, be it a full bore, everything is a firearm. Everything needs a license to be able to do it. You can only have a license if you have a reason to use it, i.e. you are a hunter or you're a target shooter. You can't just own a gun for the sake of owning a gun. If you use a gun for sport, for recreation, at a pistol club, whatever, then you can own one, not a problem. So there's that sort of controls. I need to make sure I attend a shooting range 4 times a year because I need a gun to shoot targets. I need to attend a target range and prove that. If you don't, they can take your rifles back and cancel your license because you clearly don't need a firearm because you're not using it. So somewhat restrictive, but if you want to take up the sport, not a problem. You go through the processes, you get a license. Shotguns, rimfire, air rifles are a category A. They're sort of the easiest to use, etc. Category B, I think it is, are centerfires, your higher powered stuff. Pump action, limited to 2 cartridges at once, so no gigantic magazines. There's limits on magazines. And then Cat H is your pistols. Different set of storage requirements. You need a much more secure safe, so to speak. Everything's always got to be kept in a safe, locked. They inspect my safe whenever, up to once a year type of thing. So it's like that. It is controlled, but I can do what I want to do. I want to go to a range I can shoot, not a problem. So it's sensibly safe. Some things are like the laws are a bit vague as well, so it can get a bit silly. What do I mostly do? Paperwork at the range. So I'm mostly a target shooter. I live in the city, hunting. There's not much hunting around here, although, I could go out and do drives and that sort of thing to do hunting. But it mostly is target work at the ranges. Just get there, do a bit of meditation with a little pop at the end, as I call it to most people.
Okay. Are there limits to how many guns you can own?
Not that I'm aware of, but every time you go to purchase a firearm, you've got to apply for a permit saying, I want to purchase this firearm. They, I don't know, could say, well, you've got 400 different firearms. You don't need a 401st. So if you're a collector, there's a reason to get another one. Maybe you need 500 because you're a collector. So and that's that vagueness. Nothing that I think would be a practical issue. Like I know people that have significant safe rooms that have, 40, 50 different firearms, which is not a thing. Something like if you're an influencer, if this is your job, you would have a reason to own them, etc. I don't think there'd be too much of an issue with that. Yeah.
Do you have caliber restrictions?
No. I believe there's like a 50 caliber restriction, but everything's a firearm. So there's if it's all a firearm, we treat everything as a big gun type of thing. Okay. What is odd, airsoft is completely illegal. You cannot do anything airsoft here.
Wow.
I don't know if people just don't want people training to become army people or what it is, but no airsoft. And for that reason, everything is a firearm. So why would you buy a BB gun? Because you've got to go through the same thing as getting a proper rifle. Well, I'll get a proper rifle that's, going to be more functional.
Okay.
Right.
And if you shoot paper, what kind of guns do you shoot? Now, I mean, I had a gentleman actually come here yesterday. He was visiting family in Juarez. He's from Mexico City, south of Mexico City, actually. And he was talking about he has Anschutz and fine work bow, and I'm thinking, those are high dollar guns, right? I mean, I don't have any of those, and I have some cool stuff, but I don't have those. What are you shooting there? What's your go-to?
So I imported 3 PCPs from Ukraine, some Zabroyas. That was an interesting process to get those imported, and the cost of getting anything to Australia is astronomical because we're an island far from everyone. So you need to have very specific companies doing the logistics for firearms, and it's that damn far. So the cost of any rifle basically triples by the time you get it in your hands. So it looks cheap. Getting it in your hands, holy moly, a good solid amount of paperwork. I got a couple of interesting calls from government agencies saying, you're purchasing firearms from Ukraine, and this is just after it kicked off. Exactly where are they from? So a little bit of process. I've got a Zabroya Biathlon purely because the Biathlon rifle just looks cool in black. So it's this gorgeous black stock all the metals black with like gold brass highlights. It just looks cool. So I use that 50-meter paper targets. I also have a Cossack, which is a fully compact bullpup. So my idea was to use that for things like hunt field target, nice and compact, better weight distribution. And I got my dad a Hortizia, which is a sort of a standard hunting rifle type Monte Carlo stock. Apart from that, I've got a gorgeous little Dana Storm Rider, which is my test rifle for all the chronographs. Go through that because it's just so cheap and so awesome to just pop pellets through really quick testing. And I have a 1950s Jacado, which is a rebadged Diana Mod 32, which is a little 177 Springer made in like 1950s, which was my grandfather's. Damn accurate.
Yeah.
Just a cool little Springer to have.
All right. And your PCPs that you're shooting, you said 50 meters. So what kind of velocity, what caliber are you shooting, and what kind of velocities are you trying to get out of those, and how consistent are they?
Yeah, so I'm running those 18 grain pellets. They're more of a pellet than a slug rifle. Yep. The slugs and the magazines are a bit, if you've got a longer slug, it'll work okay, but then they're a little bit heavy. I prefer to just, the pellets run really well. We're doing 18 grain pellets at about 850 to 900 feet per second, just that sweet spot. 22 cal, so about, 20 foot-pounds type of area. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, Angie, you got any questions?
No, it sounds like they have a lot more freedoms than some countries. I was speaking with someone at SHOT Show, and he was telling me the stuff. He's from England, and oh my, they're only allowed to own one air gun at a time. He had to sell his other one so he could get an FX. Wow. I was like, oh, I couldn't do that. So it sounds like
it's like, but in England they can have moderator silencers. No restrictions. New Zealand, which is our little brother just off the east coast there, they can have moderator silencers, not a problem. In Australia, they are highly illegal. Like, it's very difficult to get them. So it's interesting, and you can purchase in the UK sub 12 foot-pound. You can just go and purchase one from a shop, no licensing, which is why I field target 12 foot-pounds. So it's interesting you say that they're more restrictive. In some ways, yes, some ways, no.
Yeah.
Yep. You got a point.
And here it actually does depend on your location. So 50 states, each state can make their own laws. Every municipality, every county can have their own laws. Every city then can, I mean, it can really make it so your state's fine, but your city says, no, you can't.
Yeah.
You know,
you have to know your laws.
Better, like if you're in Illinois, anything that's 177 and over whatever feet per second, it's a firearm. It's got to go through the paperwork. You got to get a background check to buy it. So when I had the shop and somebody would want to buy from Illinois, we said right there, you can't sell there without going through an FFL. And I said, I just need your FFL. Oh, it's an air gun. I said, I don't care. It's your state, dude. I mean, I'm not going to ship it.
I would move. I'd be so gone.
But learning that, the overheads, and that's what kills shops and kills the industry, the amount of paperwork and overhead that the shops have got to go on to sell something. Like, you're not a charity. You've got to pay for that time and effort to do all the shenanigans. It's terrible. But, I mean, United States my butt. But, I mean, like that sort of inconsistency in laws is horrible here. At least we've got a national code, so it's not too bad.
We have, and it's interesting, the way the country is organized is it's supposed to be organized, is that it's really small. The locality has the authority over the federal. So we can make laws locally that are, that can be more restrictive than federal. The federal can like set a baseline. So like there's baseline, but then each municipality, each little subset can change things to their need or what the voters want in that area, because these are all voted in. These are all laws that are approved and voted in.
You said they can be more restrictive. Can they override and go the other way and
really,
overrule?
Not so much. That's when you have to go take it to court. You can get more restrictive, but you can't like say no. There's a lot of stuff that's going on right now. I actually am a real fan of states' rights. I think the less the government imposes like a blanket sort of pressure, the better, because then, okay, so I have a bunch of friends that live, or I'll say associates, acquaintances, business associates that live in, say, New York City. Well, I get why they have some of the restrictions and laws that make sense for them to have there. I live in West Texas. Today we're in the middle of a shoot, and a snake comes 5 feet from me. Kind of immediately, I'm looking. Is
Do
that a
not
friendly
make that
snake,
noise.
or are we going to have we're going to have a problem here? It was a friendly snake. We let him go on his way. Happy, right?
He was not waiting around. He was boogieing.
But if it was a rattlesnake, it would have been a dead one.
Yes.
Right? But I actually out here, we have things happening regularly between whether it's coyotes coming after animals or badgers or rattlesnakes, or we have like legitimate use case. If there was like a blanket, nobody has this, it really doesn't work so much because we're in such incredible diversity from, LA is not here, right? And Dallas is not Utah, not wherever in Utah. I mean, we're so, the ability for each locale to be able to tailor something to their voters, the voters vote in need or desires, to me, I think makes more sense. And if you don't like it, you do have the option of leaving.
Yeah. But I mean, what you said there, I mean, we cornered the market on snakes, spiders, and drop bears. So, like, don't get me started on snakes here, Rick. Your snakes are like little cuddly teddy bears, all right? But one of our legitimate reasons to have a firearm is if you're a primary producer. So if you own a farm, you've got cattle, you've got sheep, things like that. You want to make sure you can protect them from things like drop bears. So that is a genuine reason. But as you said, things like New York, you don't need a gun in the middle of the city to protect you from maybe spiders. But like apart from that, there's no use.
I think firearms are completely legitimate for any sort of spider or a flying insect that stings or bites.
Absolutely.
There's absolutely no restriction. I mean, we're all in need of that personal protection. Yes, Sue.
Now, Nate, South Africa competes quite a bit with snakes and things like that as well. We have
when we do have eight,
ones.
I think 7 or 8 of the top 10. So I'll flex on that pretty hard.
Okay,
but you've got those like big animal type problems as well.
Yeah, but they don't wander around our backyards, not like most people think.
No, I think we do have the fun stuff here. If you're not a spider fan, you need to come out when we have the tarantulas up.
Oh yeah,
because you just kind of walk out and there'll be like 30 of them walking across the road.
No, we have never had 30.
Well, all right, 15. But I mean,
so when is that? So I am not out there at that time.
It can vary
they're perfectly
at times,
harmless. We just let them have their space and
just
we have our space.
Seeing them, I get the EBGBs and I feel like they're crawling all over me.
Yeah. No, and the only snakes we have here that are problematic are the rattlesnakes. So they generally stick to themselves, but every now and then we need to off with their head them. So, I have no problem with that at all. So Angie, I don't think there's the one thing that we have that's different, really different state to state here, Nate, that I don't know if you guys are allowed to hunt big game with air guns there.
Absolutely. Are you talking to me?
I'm talking about Australia.
Oh.
You've got to, I don't know if there's specific, and this is a thing, like, as I said, our laws are vague, which can be problematic, but it can also be good. There are definitely guidelines, if you're caught or seen doing things that are inhumane, you can expect a book thrown at you, rightly so. If you were to get a very high-powered 35 cal air rifle to shoot something that was appropriate, that you could get a humane kill, off the top of my head, I don't think there's restrictions around that. So as I said, that's the vagueness which can work both ways. If you're being a muppet, well, heck, you've got it in for you, but you can do things that are sensible. Okay.
Well, I know that like Angie, where she lives, you have like they're called primitive weapons, right? Is that the way they're declared there in South Carolina? And you can go, if it works, you can use it pretty much, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we have caliber restrictions. Like with deer, you have to have 35 caliber or better. So, but basically here in South Carolina, it's pretty free. You can pretty much, I mean, lower South, South Carolina, we don't even have like certain like upstate. They have archery season, muzzleloader, all that kind of stuff. We don't even have that here. Deer season comes in and it's pretty much free game, whatever you have,
Truck,
35 caliber or
yeah,
better.
truck, station wagon,
Yep. Yep.
I'm just picturing
whatever.
Yosemite Sam. That's the only thing that's running through my head right now. Pretty much open season.
Yeah, and like here in Texas, they recently, I say recently, in the last few years, the last 5-6 years, they legalized hunting with air rifles, and it's based on power. So you have to be like so many foot-pounds. I want to say it's like 230. So if you're over 230, it's 30 caliber and 230, I think. I know 230's in there, and I'm trying to remember. I think there is a caliber restriction to a minimum caliber to hunt big game. Now, hog here, you don't even need a license. Just please come kill them. And so, and there's, I think, I'm not sure about, I think collared dove. I don't know if you need a license here. You have to have a license if you hunt, even if it's your own property. If I want to go shoot jackrabbit, I have to have a blanket basic hunting license. If I want to hit deer, that's another charge. That's tags and all these other things and waterfowl. So there's like a baseline, pay this much, you can go hunting. And then you have to know what you need tags for over and above that. So even if I wanted to hunt jackrabbit or something, I have to have a hunt license. It's not expensive for in-state, but let's say I wanted to go hunt deer at Angie's, I better have a few $100s.
Yep.
At least, maybe what, $300-400 for me to go hunt.
It's probably about 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For like a weekend.
Wow.
That's not like a year license either.
So yeah, the license we've got for hunting. So on your firearms license, you have a category, can be target, can be hunting. So to get a hunting category to say I can hunt, I've just basically got to do a test, which, don't point it at people when you're walking around in the bush, don't do something stupid type of thing. Just good solid advice on your etiquette and protocols when hunting. But once I have that on my license, I'm free. There's no cost associated with hunting.
Wow.
So that's really interesting. But in terms of what you can hunt, Australia doesn't have any hard-hoofed animals. So anything that has a hard hoof is an introduced species. So it's pretty much open game on those. And the amount of damage they do, so things like pigs, deer, camels, horses has been in the news a lot. The amount of destruction that they do to the vegetation is horrific because of the hard hoofs. It hasn't evolved to handle that. So yeah, things like that. We do a lot of programs working with government departments to cull introduced species to protect the natives as well. So there's actually some very good partnerships. We've been able to introduce a lot of native species back into areas they've been extinct from because of things like wild cats and whatever else as well.
That's very cool. Now, are there, like, I know Jim Walton here. You know Jim, don't you, Angie? Have you met Jim?
Just not in person.
Okay.
Just on
So
social media.
he actually goes out and gets contracts to do exactly that. Actually works, but he mostly uses air guns, and he has this kind of a niche because, especially when you're in like a more urban environment, you can suppress them. It's close range stuff. You can get in tight. You can get the job done. You can shoot in between things with a lot less potential collateral damage with a pass through or some other things. So air guns are a really good fit for that. I didn't know, are air guns considered for those types of uses where you are? Or is it mostly they go out? I mean, I don't know what it looks like there. If you just like pockets of city and the rest of it is just bush, I don't know what it's like out there where you are. So I'm curious as to if are there people that take air guns out and use them to actually do pest abatement and that kind of work.
So is that a question to me or Angie?
That's to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I've spoken with, there are contract shooters. I spoke to the guy that works down at the airport for biosecurity reasons. You've got to make sure you don't have birds flying around, bringing things in and off ships, things like that. Cemeteries around the city, we've got a rabbit problem. So there's definitely a good amount of control. Things like golf courses. Rabbits and golf courses aren't the best of friends. And yeah, in things like shopping centers, etc., there can be a little bit of that introduced bird species that are causing a lot of destruction, a lot of health hazards as well. That does definitely happen. I can drive sort of like 3/4 of an hour to an hour and like get in, or maybe I can walk 10 minutes because I live near bush, but out of the city, with an hour's drive, you're well out of the city, anywhere in the city type of thing. So yeah, things like farming, orchards, vineyards, animal farms, that stuff, absolutely contract. Things like rabbits, small birds, that's fair game.
Do you enjoy that part of air gunning? I mean, I know you said you do go do the paperwork for fun, the meditation with a pop at the end. I caught that. That was nice. Do you enjoy hunting? Is that something that you consider? This weekend I'm going to take the weekend and just go hunt rabbit out in the bush. Is that something that interests you, or is that not necessarily your personal thing?
Haven't done it for a while, but it does interest me. I used to bow hunt wild goats, which is extraordinarily difficult. You've got to get within 50, 60 feet type of thing of a goat, and you're walking all day up that, and that's awesome. Absolutely, for two reasons. It's when you explain it, like people think, oh my God, you're going to go kill animals. The gun culture here is very, very different to elsewhere, places like America. And by that, I'm not talking about things like gang violence, but you had John Wayne, you had like Clint Eastwood. I think most Americans are familiar and comfortable with guns. Australia, not so much. I don't tell people that I own them. Very close friends will find out and they're like, you've got guns in your house? And they get worried. And I'm like, well, you don't know where they are. They're locked in a safe, and you go through the protocols and they're like, okay, that's very different. You take them to a range and they see the amount of focus on safety and they're a lot more comfortable. But yes, in terms of hunting, if I hunt, it would be introduced species. So there's the craft of hunting, going through the stalk and everything. And there's also helping the local environment, which just has to be done. We screw so many things up by introducing stuff. Got to clean it up.
That's cool. I mean, we've got to do a little of that, Angie, down in Florida with the iguanas.
Yep.
And actually, your husband right now is out trying to get a pig, right?
He is. We have a property that we hunt, and the landowner's really pressing us to get rid of these pigs.
So. I mean, I remember going out prairie dog hunting in New Mexico, which was an absolute hoot. Sue can attest to how much she enjoyed prairie dog hunting.
Oh, I loved it. I was listening to Nate talk about the rules, and I was thinking that, like, first time I went turkey shooting with you is not the experience he's talking about.
No, we won't get into that. It was less than safe.
Yeah.
We left early. But prairie dog hunt was great, and we were out there. Awesome. We were out there hunting this field, and we had two different farmers come over to us and said, "Please come hunt my field. Please come hunt my field. Here's my card. Here's my number. When you're done here, please come hunt my field." So we went to their field and hunt, and it was just a lot of fun. I put I had my big truck. I put her and my daughter in the back of the truck. They had chairs and swivels and the tanks of air, and I just drove around, parked, and they shot at the back of the truck.
What's the game with the whack-a-mole?
Whack-a-mole, yeah.
It was like whack-a-mole, and it was really funny because you'd shoot one, and the other one that was sitting very close by saw its friend drop and went, "Hey, what's happened to Nate?" Carry on eating. Doesn't move, doesn't do anything, just stands right there. So then you get that one too. It was hysterical to me.
Yeah, and this was one of the cool things here, like, because you guys, I heard you say you can't have moderators, you can't have suppressors. Can they be integrated to the gun where you can't have separate ones, or just none at all?
Oh, heck no. You can't have a shrouded air rifle. The barrel has to be the end of the fire. And that, again, when I imported my Zabroyas, that was a pain. If you are something like a contract, if there's a very, very legitimate reason that you need one, i.e. you are a contract shooter, you do pest control work in a golf course in the middle of the city, then yes, you can potentially get a suppressor because of the noise, etc. But it's insanity because we've got New Zealand next door. We're pretty much, it's like you guys and the people up North Canada. You're the same people, the same culture. There's nothing happening there. There's nothing happening.
I tell you, there's some fighting words you just said there. Because I tell you, we in Canada are not the same people. I mean, no, sorry. No, I get what you're saying, though. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
Texas and California aren't the same people.
No, ma'am.
Hey, you're all united. You're united, damn it. It says it on the label, right?
Well, yes, I mean there is in theory, it's one of those things. But it's funny that you say that because here we can have everything but not suppressors. In England, they could buy a suppressor but not have anything to put it on. They have guns that don't need them.
But I think that's, again, what I was saying before. There's a real lack of understanding of firearms in general. So people that make the laws have never been around them, have no idea
That's true.
how
It's very
this.
true.
I mean, things like full bore rifle. I wish I could have a suppressor so I don't go damn deaf with everyone else. And then I have earmuffs. I can't hear what's going on around me. Like, don't get me started. I'll start shaking my fist at a cloud type of thing, right? Getting my old man on.
Yeah, I get it. That's why we use the headphones that have mics in them that shut themselves off automatically. But yes, I'm with you.
Rick,
Yes.
hey, Sue, I've got to go. I got a call. I
Oh,
think you
cool.
probably got one.
Awesome. Well, thank
So-
you, Angie, for hanging out
Yes,
with
thank
us.
you. It was nice
Lovely to have
meeting you,
you, Angie.
Nate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
I'm
Bye,
not going to
Angie.
get her top 3 guns. That's all right. We'll have to have her back up. You can hit him next time. Tell Edmund we
All
said
right.
hi, okay?
All right, we'll do. Thank y'all.
See ya.
Good night.
Bye bye now.
Do I just take
Yeah,
do
when
that
she's
layer?
gone, just delete that layer. There you go. And then maybe put him up to the top.
And she's removed from the
Yep.
conversation?
Yep.
Okay.
And
And
then
move
move him
Nate
up
up.
top. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Well, this is working so much better than last night, Nate. This whole audio is working. We've got this
Smooth.
thing working. It's smooth, buddy. We just needed one complete total foobar to
Learning experience. You had a learning
yes,
experience. We've all had them.
absolutely. So let's get to some stuff about the last bit of the show here. We actually did before, and Nate, I'm curious. I know you watched some, but we're really different time zones, so I don't know how much you were able to keep up. We're gonna talk about some guns. We have some categories. We have best of show, most surprising, most innovative, most fun to shoot, best value, and then we each talked about our favorite gun. So we're gonna start with the best value. And
You want me to hit the slideshow?
Yeah, let's hit the slideshow. And just make sure when you hit the slideshow, you still got audio. I think we should be fine.
Yes.
All right. So the best value, and these options were picked by Sue and Cheryl and myself, sort of kicking things around. Nobody's paid to have their name put up here. This is just our experience from the show. And we picked the Gammo Aero PCPs. So these little guys are just neat. I don't know if you have any pictures of those you can show, Sue.
Of the Gammo
The Gammo
arrows?
Arrows, yeah.
Um,
She needs bigger glasses.
no, these things are pretty flippin' small. I can't see them. I should have made the names bigger. I don't
Anyway,
think I do. I can get some.
that's
Do you want
okay.
me
Don't
to
worry
get
about
some?
it. So
Okay.
the Gammo Arrows, they are about 200 and some change. The standard 177 and 22 they're like 220, and they're really, really solid backyard guns. They're quiet. They're not regulated. They have wonderful valving because they're based on the BSA valving. They're just really good. Now the Gammo Aero Classic is a 22. It's got a bigger cylinder, more power. It's right around 30 foot-pounds versus say 18. So that's a viable 50-yard gun, and we were actually hitting out to 100 yards with that today, or was it yesterday? It's hard to remember. So the best value choice we got that we decided on was the Gammo Arrows. I don't know if you know anything about those, Nate.
Yeah, I think it's the key for me with something like the Gamma Arrow is the accessibility. You can buy it it is so cheap to get a decent quality PCP that is accessible for the starting shooter. You don't have to have, a big Springer for somebody that may be a little bit small. Females as well. You don't want a big, powerful Springer that's going to be a pain in the butt to use. And, if you start out with a Springer, you're going to grow out of it.
Yeah.
So then you have to buy something else. Starting out with something like the Gamma Arrow PCP, accessible, multi-shot, easy to use, quiet, doesn't vibrate and kick. Good entry point. And that's what I love, making a product that gets people that wouldn't necessarily get into the sport, into the field of shooting, something that's quality that will last them. So they can spend a bit more money on something like optics or some accessories down the track without having to purchase multiple things in the first couple of years. Great offering. Great offerings.
Yeah, so that's our best value choice. Let's move on to the most fun to shoot. Sue,
Okay.
what did you think was the most fun to shoot? Gotta go to the next slide. It's right there in front of you. Go. You say.
Oh, you want me to talk?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
The Evernex Viper 25 micro carbine.
Yeah.
Carbine.
Carbine.
Whatever.
You have pictures for that one. You can show pictures. Nate, we were talking a little bit about in the beginning about some of the just feature set that you're able to get in like a small, tiny little package. And that's the Evernex Viper is just really fun to shoot. It's compact, semi-auto, decent power. I mean, it's not the Hubin GK1, which we'll get to here, like especially down to the favorite Airguns maybe. But I mean, it's a lot of fun. And I don't know if you have any thoughts about like something like the Viper carbine or like the Viper or any of those types of products.
Great packaging. The fact that they can fit, adjustable power and everything into a small pistol with a good 30 caliber and a good power range, absolute miraculous. And it's good that, I won't go to my favorite gun yet, but having something that's an alternative to a firearm, a legitimate alternative, using pistols, powder reloading, etc. It's noisy, it can be expensive. Airguns, cheap to feed, you can train with it, etc., etc. Just another awesome option to have in the kit bag.
Okay. Let's go down to, now we're going to move over to the most innovative, and this one was kind of interesting. My choice, we had kind of a tie. So I really think that Hubin GK1 was, and I think they defy the law of physics with how many shots they're getting out of that little gun. I don't know how they do it, because you can set if you're shooting in your basement, let's say you've got a 5 or 10 meter range in your basement and you're pistol shooting and you're just taking practice, you don't need 800 feet per second. You can shoot with 4. You'll get close to 100 shots out of that thing. And I don't know how you do that in a pistol that's like this big, right? I mean, it's amazing what they're able to do with that. But if you go out and say you want to deal with some pests in the garden or whatever, you just turn the power up and now you're pushing 1,000 feet per second if that's what you need, which is just flat out impressive. I don't know. To me, I think that is, I mean, for me, it says it can be done. I'm curious why other people aren't doing it, but maybe because of cost, because that's not a cheap product. It's expensive. I mean, it's 12 and some change US dollars. So it's
expensive now. It's expensive now. In a couple of years, 5 years, are we going to see it cheaper? That'd be interesting.
Yeah, or a lot of people that copy that concept, because that does happen. Hubin's already been copied a couple times. Yeah. Hubin's already been copied a couple times. The other option in the innovation side, and this was really one Sue lobbied for hard, was the Umarex Complete. So if you want to show that one, that's the new Umarex that runs off the nitrogen bottles. So not CO2, not PCP. You buy recyclable, not reusable, recyclable. It looks just like an 88 gram CO2, but it's 3,600 PSI nitrogen. So you drop that in the gun, and now you've got almost 30 foot-pounds, 40 shots. They say 45 even shots. I was getting 40 that were within, 10 FPS plus or minus a little bit, at a gun that's $200. So $200, really accurate. I did a video yesterday. I called it, I'm completing my look at the Umarex Complete, and I'm doing a review on that gun. So I shot 6 different pellets, and 2 of the pellets were, thumbnail groups with 10 shot. Well, no, we're doing 5-shot groups, the size of my fingernail. And that was just awesome. So that was pretty cool. It's very affordable feeling. Is that a nice way to put it? It's light. It's a lot of plastic.
Which
polymer.
is
You're trying to say polymer there, Rick.
No, I think
which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay.
For someone like me,
Yep.
it's one of the reasons I liked it, was because it was very light.
Yes.
It was easy for me to hold. I really like the fact that it uses the tanks that you can take. You just pop the tank in, take it with you, take a couple in your backpack with some ammo, and you're shooting.
Yeah.
Versus, oh my gosh, I got to get a tank. Is it full? Rick, please come fill the tank.
Oh, we had an issue
Rick,
today where
please come fill a gun.
my regulator that runs my 2 bottles that I fill from, the regulator finally let go. So if I didn't have another way to fill, we would have been done for the day. Okay. That's why I said, I actually think I have to sort of, and I've been sort of championing. Sue, help me. How do I say that?
Which one? Championing.
Thank you. That word. I've been doing that with the Complete because I really see the value for someone who wants the performance of a PCP, ease of a PCP, power, accuracy, ease of shooting without all of the cost, and the rifle's also very affordable. The cartridges are expensive, and there's no way around that. You can't overlook that. And it comes down to about 25 cents a shot just for the air, which is stout. Okay. But again, if you don't have to go spend $1,000 in gear, you can shoot a lot for $1,000, right? You can get a lot
like
of shots down
a
range.
casual shooter, if it's one of many guns, something you just want to quickly grab out every now and then, cost benefits are obvious.
Yeah. So that's very cool. So those are the most innovative. Those are the guns we chose as the most innovative. And then we have the most surprising. And no surprise, it was the Umarex Complete. I mean,
Yeah.
so it gets two awards this time around. And I have to, hats off. I was very impressed with that gun. I mean, just straight up, I was impressed with it. I'm really glad I got to circle back around and actually do some pellet testing. It was very condensed because I only had one extra cartridge. That's kind of a bummer. But it was very, very cool. The trigger's decent. The cocking it's very, I hate to say this, it's very toy feeling. But it held up, shot with good power, was very accurate. And I'll say to myself, like I say to others, doesn't matter what it looks like. If I'm shooting it, I ain't looking at it. So that's what I say to that. Anyway.
You say toy feeling. Is that because it was delicate or because it was like a bit rough and?
I say it was toy feeling. Okay, so like when you have plastic that's molded, there's that seam, right? If it's like kind of thrown together, there were seams. The finish on it, that the fit and finish. I go back. It's the cocking handle is a synthetic material. Well, I would say that. The cocking handle synthetic. There's a lot about it that feels flexy, like doesn't feel like rigid and secure. But again, it's $200. None of that impacted performance. That is all Rick quality of life, very subjective opinion, not objective
and I think
use case.
Once we get like more products with those features, like does flex mean it's not going to last as long? I think that's the concern we have. So once we get more products with proven longevity, a little bit of flex in this type of material is not a problem. I think getting the confidence in the materials and the product is.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And I have a conversation with many people about plastics and gammo guns and whatever, because I've not had a problem with them. In fact, I've never had a plastic trigger ever break on me. I've had some metal ones bend and break, but I've never had a plastic trigger ever fail me. So, is it fact or is it fantasy, right? A lot of people have a perception that they impose on a thing, and it's not based on fact. It's based on perception. And so a lot of this, maybe aversion is more perception, not fact. So I'm fully willing to admit that. You take by contrast, like the Air Venturi Avenger, it was super affordable. They came out with that, and the stock was plastic. It wasn't polymer. Crossman Pumpmaster 760 plastic, which is when they came out with the Woodstock, changed that gun. They have other options now. Now the new stuff is so much better. Like the Avenge X is It's a proper polymer stock. So, but on the other side, they brought a product to market at an incredible $300 price point that had the adjustability of an FX. Got to cut a quarter somewhere. So anyway.
And it's one thing we all love to complain on the internet. You know, as a manufacturer, I think if you have a problem, like make sure you give feedback to the manufacturer. And then that's one thing that is always challenging to get. A lot of times I'll reach out to suppliers of parts and whatever and say, look, this is garbage because of XYZ. You should try doing something like this. Give better feedback to make a difference. That's going to help fix these things. This polymer stock is garbage because of XYZ. This is a better model. At a shooting show, you see a product, tell them why it could be better. If they don't want to take your advice, screw them. But if they do take your advice, you're going to get a better product.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. I have a lot of people that will comment and just maybe complain about a thing, but never give a solution. It sucks. It's trash. It's what exactly? Let's define it a little bit. So,
but it's also, as a manufacturer, it's their job to get that out of you. Like, why is it trash? Tell me. Tell me about your experience. What isn't trash? And help tease that sort of information out. That's a job of a good manufacturer to get it. So bitch and complain, do it in the right way or to the right people, we'll all be better.
Yeah, I hear you. So anyway, most surprising, despite all of my whatever, Umbrex Complete, I was very impressed with it. I mean, it was very, I would love to have a lot more time with both the 177 and 22. I'd like to do some hunting with it. I think my wife would like to do a little hunting with it.
Yeah.
I think she would really enjoy it because it's a 50-yard gun. It's a 50-yard, $200, no tanks required gun. It's impressive. So that's the most surprising. And the best of show, Sue, you want to tell them what the best of show is?
And the best of show was the McCavity MA2 in 22 cal.
Yeah.
That is my gun.
Yeah, it is now officially her gun. It was awesome. It was awesome. Anything that takes a person, I mean, my wife is an example, but when a person goes from, I'm not that interested to, man, I am really interested in doing this now. That to me is game changing. That's what that gun did for her. My sister shot it. I shot it. Bob shot it. Everybody that shot it said, wow. Now, it was topped with an ATN optic, and that also helped with the wow.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, I mean, the ATN really didn't make the list, and maybe they should have back in like the most innovative. That would have been a really long list, though, because they have, maybe we have like a, what do they call it? Like a special, I don't know, whatever it is. Not a runner-up, but somebody who didn't quite make the list, but they were close. They almost made the list.
Well, here's the thing. We had optics on almost everything.
Yeah.
So, and I believe there were 4 different companies that we had. So I think all 4 should get on the list at some because I'm pretty sure they're on there. But that McCavity arms for me was so impressive because I sat down and it was comfortable. I didn't have to strain my shoulder or my neck or anything to try and shoot it. It was easy to load. It was easy to shoot. It was accurate, very accurate. It was light. To me, it was light. It had the bipod, which was pretty firm, and it didn't wiggles, which is great for me. I don't know that there was anything I can say that I didn't like about the gun, and I loved that ATN scope on it.
Yeah, it was a really nice package, for sure. Yeah, I mean, that was really, I think that really did deserve best of show. Now, we had 3 McCavities. We had the 25, the 22, and the 30. She hasn't shot the 20, 25, and 30, but I know why. The 22 really suits her because it's lighter, it's shorter, more compact. It's just that type of thing. And the fact that she could just pull it up and it was comfortable and she didn't want to stop shooting it. That was, to me, awesome because now, we're already talking about when's the next time we're going to go shooting. And that, I haven't had that in a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about that we have, it's not that I haven't had like 100 or 200 guns for her to choose from. And she shot a good number of guns, but nothing's really like, oh, this is it, until she shot the McCavity. So best of show, McCavity takes it, and pretty happy and excited about that. They're actually going to be a new sponsor over the GTA, so that works great. So we have their pre-production models, which we've been shooting. I cannot wait to see their production models and see where they take their product line. I'm pretty excited about that. So, yeah.
There's a lot more
That
for
was
me
actually
to say about that one. That gun, I just when I sat down to shoot that one, I was like, I don't want to get up. And I go with you to shoot. I'll film you shooting. I edit your articles. You know, I'm involved in a way with your air gunning. But to actually go and shoot, to wake up early and get to the range and set everything up and go shoot, nah, it's okay. But that was like, I literally was like, can we skip dinner? Can we just stay here and keep shooting?
Yeah, it's awesome. You gonna say something, Nate?
Yeah, like it was actually my pick of the season as well. I think, and exactly what you just said, getting interested. You know, I go to an exhibition and Nate Cronin's only for air rifles, or I choose, you know, I only shoot proper guns. Getting something that will invite people into the sport. You know, things like slugs, things like the technology, the accuracy, the power we're getting over the last 5 years. If we can get more people into the sport by making things, even if they're tactical and purely for aesthetic reasons, something like that gets people excited, that gets people interested and keeps them interested because it's so good to use, does immense amounts for the sport. Like I get the traditional Woodstock, etc., but things like that draw people in and introduce them to the sport does a lot for us.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I think it's great. I think the complete gets people at the entry level, right? That complete gets those guys that like, I'll try it. And then they're like, once you try it, you're hooked, right? I mean, you're done. You're stuck. And the McCavity, I think, gives somebody a near sort of FX kind of shooting experience for a third the price.
Yeah, wow.
So if you're able to come over here at some point, we'll spend some time. We'll shoot a whole bunch of air guns, Nate. We'll spend some time on
I'd
the
be
range,
happy
buddy.
to.
We're gonna have a good time. Yeah. Yes, Sue.
The other thing about the McCavity for me that was surprising was it's not my type of gun. I like a wood stock. I don't like holding a wood stock because they're heavy, but I like a wood stock. And the black stock was like, it's just another black gun. But when I picked it up, it was not just another black gun. It was awesome.
Yeah, Brian's gonna love all of this stuff you're saying. They're not paying us to say it. I'm just telling you that right now.
I've never met Brian, so I can't say he's paying
Angie
me.
has. Angie's met Brian. Okay, so let's get to our personal favorites, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap this up tonight. Sue, quickly,
Yes.
what were your 3 favorite guns?
McCavity MA2 22. Naomi's Evanex Viper 25. Sorry, I should have said my McCavity MA2 22. Naomi's Evanex Viper 25 microcarbine. And then obviously also the Umarex Complete 22.
And her statement to me after that we ended that video was, I would buy that.
Yeah.
Which is another, I mean, guns are not her thing, right?
Nuh-uh.
Sewing, like quilting, kitchen gadgets,
Movies.
all of those things are her things. Guns, not so much. But so when she says to me, I would buy that, all right, they've definitely hit something. Cheryl's top 3, she's not here, but I'll say them, was also the McCavity, the Evanex Viper 25 microcarbine, and the Hubin HK1, or the K1, which is the rifle version in 25 cal. That is right now my favorite air gun to go shoot. So I'm right with her on that. Nate, did you have, I know you said the
What about
McCavity is
yours?
like
You
this.
had 3.
I haven't gotten to it yet.
Ah.
Nate, did you have more than the McCavity that really caught your attention this week?
Yeah, probably the Evanex Viper. Like cool packaging, practical micro carbine. Like it's not just a pistol. You can sort of build up to a pistol if you want. You've got the option. Just making it fun. Just making it more fun. Making it want to get out and do some more.
Awesome. Well, my top 3 were the Umarex SL30. God, dog, I love that gun. I know people were giving me grief because they hate the way it looks, and I'm like, I ain't looking at it when I'm shooting it. and it will, it will absolutely smack the crap out of stuff all the way out to 100 yards, no problem. The Hubin rifle, the 25 cal rifle, and today, getting back to, and I did a video recently with it as well, but the Gamma Coyote 177, to just sit down with a simple, unregulated, it is a chunky monkey. I mean, it's a big old wood stock, and Sue loves the stock but hates the gun. She can't, it doesn't fit her. It just doesn't work for her at all. I tried. She does not. And I had like a super nice glass on it, Frontier first focal plane. Nothing on that worked for her at all, which is fine. Different guns for different folks. But for me, it's like I mold into the gun and I become one with the gun.
Well, when you kept saying this thing, and it really bugged me the whole way through Expo. You kept saying something about, I want to be part of the gun or something.
Be connected to it.
Connected to it.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, ugh. until I sat down at that one and went, no, this does not fit. And then I sat down at the MA2 and I went, oh yeah, this fits. Yeah. I get it. I get what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So there's an ease.
Yeah, the Coyote 177, the fact that we got such great results across pellets and 2 different weight slugs all the way out to 100 yards. I think the 13 grain slugs were shooting maybe 1.5 inches at 100 yards in wind. Just awesome. Unregulated, just simple rear bolt. Just an awesome gun. So those are my favorites. That's going to be it, guys. It was a great week. Nate, thank you for coming back and hanging out with us tonight. We'll have you back on. If something cool comes up in your neck of the woods, you let me know. And now that we got this worked out, this worked great. I mean, this setup works awesome. I got my guests right here. Sue's got them over there. We've got YouTube up. We've got our notes going. I can see things right here. I can
Audio's working.
Chat. Audio's working good. This was beautiful. Sorry it took so long. But finally. But yeah, when you want to come back, you got some updates on your crony, or just want to come out and talk air guns, we'll be in touch for sure. And we'll be having you up whenever there's a good time for you to come up. We'll do it. So I appreciate you coming up tonight.
Love to. Excellent.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to be it, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us, and hope to see you next year when we do Airgun Expo again. Airgun Expo 2025. We've got some things in the works to make it, I think, a little more streamlined for everyone. I think it'll be a little more convenient for people to watch as well. But we'll see how that works out. Want to say thank you to all of our sponsors right here. These guys, all of these logos here, and Nate's that isn't here, that's on the website. Got to check that out. But check those out. Go to theairgunexpo.com and please take a couple minutes, 5 minutes. Click on your favorite vendor, your favorite manufacturer, your favorite sponsor. Go to their forum on their thing. Say, hey, I saw you on the Airgun Expo, and thank you for supporting that. That was great. We appreciate it. If you guys would do that for me, man, it would make such a huge difference. I just know it. Excuse me.
And just a quick, I'll speak on behalf of everyone that watches the videos. Huge thanks to yourself and Sue as well. The amount of effort to get to the range, to prep everything, to set up. It's an immense amount of time and effort to do something that kind of looks simple on a video. So I really appreciate the effort you guys have put in behind the scenes to make this happen, to get everything together in this awesome format. So look, really appreciate, not just from a manufacturer, but from a viewer. A lot of information, really accessible, and some real world experience as well, which is always, can be challenging to get from YouTube. Some really good experience. What are these things like? Huge thanks to you both for that.
You're very welcome. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. It's our pleasure. And this has taught us so much about how we could potentially do things going forward that I think will bring that sort of real, like I say, real world airgun reviews or real world usage experiences that I find that more valuable than a canned, polished, this is the best I've gotten out of this thing. I've shot it for this. These are my best results sort of presentation. I get why people do them. I used to do them like that. I like the real world sort of show me what really happens. If you've ever been on a TV show, you know that only a fraction of what you see makes it.
Yeah.
Has a fraction of what happens makes it to the screen, right?
Yep.
And if you've ever watched a bass show, I guarantee you they're not catching something every 5 minutes. I
Yep.
promise you. Absolutely promise you that's not how it works. So just realize a lot of times what you're seeing is the absolute best case scenario, and that is not life. That's not life. This week we had wind, we had heat, we had all kinds of conditions that made it a challenge. Every day we had a different challenge of how are we going to get things, how are we going to show things performing as well as they can in the given circumstance and situation. And by God's grace, we had a great week with very little problem. So the products performed well. Staff was awesome. Sue and Cheryl, tremendous job. And I still have a voice at the end of the week. It's amazing. So I appreciate what you said, Nate, and we've got folks saying the same thing here. So you guys, you're very welcome, and we love doing it. We hope to be doing it for a long time. That's going to be it, guys. We will see you probably, I'm thinking, maybe Tuesday we'll have another live. We'll see. We'll see. It'll probably just be me. Maybe Angie can come up. I'd like to get Joe up again, so we'll start getting some guests on. So, guys, that's going to be it for now. My name's Rick here with AirgunWeb for the Airgun Expo. Thanks for watching.